We'll get to your calls here at 888-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Simple question. LeBron with Anthony Davis, a healthy one, of course, and Kyrie Irving makes the Lakers what in the West? But as we discuss that and we go through, to me, it's Tim Bontemps did his article at ESPN. You guys have been doing it, the 10 questions of the offseason. And he had a topic about James Harden. And that's something that I think you also have to introduce into the conversation. But before we do that, as I mentioned earlier, Key, when everybody talks about Kyrie's situation with Brooklyn and what if he leaves, it's always what happens with Kevin Durant. What will Kevin Durant do? Some people suggest that Kevin Durant will demand out of Brooklyn. Well, he was on the ETC's podcast, and he said this. He said, there's no involvement at all. He said, I can't be involved with this man's livelihood. This is much bigger than me. Being a free agent is one of the most important times of your career. That can't be swayed by anyone else. I just do me and wait for the time. So do you believe that Kevin Durant, regardless of what Kyrie does, won't have any impact at all or won't be angry or want out of Brooklyn? He's saying he's staying out of this thing. He's not trying to influence Kyrie or anything.
No, I could believe KD. I mean, like he said, it's this man's livelihood. This is what this man wants to do. It's one thing to start a free agency kind of recruiting process when you're trying to get a guy to join you and make a team work. But then think about it, Alan, when it does not work out, to try to keep somebody just to keep you there, you're going to be miserable. Kevin Durant will be miserable trying to keep somebody that really probably is already, from a mental standpoint, could potentially have checked out on you just because he's tired. He probably was tired of hearing all the noise around what he decided to do, people blaming him for the shortcomings of the Nets, all of that sort of stuff. It's hard to now try to re-recruit him to stay with you when there's other options for him to go. Now, I don't think those options are all that good other than the Lakers, to be honest with you. When you started naming, or Woj said Miami, I'm like, Kyrie to Miami ain't going to help them win no championship. And there's not enough that's there.
Right. He also doesn't. There's certain places where he doesn't fit, right? There's certain things where you're like, man, that doesn't work. It sounds nice, but that doesn't work.
Yeah, it does. Certain places just doesn't work.
Yeah, but there are certain places, Key, as I was just referencing, that you look at them, and the Laker was, to me, that's the one. If you're asking me to power rank the options outside of Brooklyn, because we all know Brooklyn's the best option. Stay there. They'll give them something. Yeah, that makes the most sense. But because we don't like to make sense, we just like to make stories. This is the one to me that I put the Lakers as the best story. But number two, I have a team that I want you to react to. Because as we mentioned, James Harden and the Sixers, they still have to figure out what they're doing with him. And the rumors are they're going to give him a short-term extension. But it's like still $50 million a year, even if it's only 2 years. And I thought both teams could help each other again. What if you were the Nets and you said, tell you what, Kyrie doesn't want to be here anymore. We'll trade him to you. You give us James Harden back. If you're the Sixers, never mind from the Nets' perspective, because Kevin Durant will be happy. He and James like each other. They liked playing together. Kevin Durant didn't want to see James Harden leave, so at least you get that back. Something that still makes you a pretty good contender.
Yeah,
and then Kyrie goes to the Sixers with Joel Embiid, and that is a lethal. If you really think about putting those two together, it could be lethal. And so the question, of course, becomes, which is, I don't want to say lesser of two evils, but you know what I mean. What is more palpable, to give James Harden that extension or to give Kyrie Irving a similar but a little less money extension?
I would say, man.
Is it that crazy?
If the Nets were to do it and get James Harden back, James Harden looked good in the Nets uniform more times than not. In Philadelphia, he really never really looked like the guy that Brooklyn saw early. And right. Even at some point when he was looking to get traded, he still was playing pretty good basketball. When he got to Philly, it just didn't look right for whatever reason. So maybe if he goes back with KD, you'll see what he was able to do with the Nets. that first time around with them. Now with Kyrie's situation, you still got to be able to manage him and everything that he brings to the table. Are the Philadelphia people in the fan base, the Pats of the world, and the Allen Yateses of the world willing to deal with that because you know what you're getting?
That's what I want to know. That's exactly what I want to know. So let's first bring in Pat Costello, noted Sixers fan, who probably, like Pat, I need to know which – you can't say neither. That's not an option. One or the other.
Okay.
Which is more palpable to you?
James Harden, not Kyrie Irving.
Why?
I don't have faith in Kyrie Irving anymore, and I don't think he deserves the benefit of the doubt, whereas I'm willing to give that to James Harden. You're
willing to give James Harden the benefit of the doubt that he will be in shape, focused, motivated, wanting to play, all those things.
More so than Kyrie.
At $50 million a year.
Yes.
Okay, more than Kyrie.
I'm with Pat on that one though. I feel like James Harden just got into a slump. Something happened there where it was a little bit of a slump. You just don't know. You just don't know with Kyrie. If he wants to play, something may happen, and he may not want to play, and you just don't know. Mm-hmm. At least you know James Harden is going to play.
All right, let me play the devil. Well, first of all, let's bring in Alan Yates. I know you're not a Sixers fan, but you're a Philly guy. Is that which guy fits better in that market?
Well, see, I would rather have both on the team if you could, but you can't get both. So I would I'm cool with Kyrie coming to Philly, but I don't know if them individually there without each other is going to take the Sixers over the top. Because then I'm looking at, all right, well, what else is on the roster? Is it just Kyrie, Embiid, Matisse Thybulle, and Tobias Harris? I'm cool off of that. So I'm with Pat, actually. I would rather rock out with Harden because I know he's going to come back and hopefully he's going to come back and do what he's supposed to do.
Right. Now, my counter would only be this. Both guys are talented players. One guy has done it in the postseason. One guy has not. And what is the end game here?
Yeah, but I mean, the guy who did it in the postseason had a pretty big helping piece with that. Let's be honest.
He hit the biggest shot of the series.
Yeah, I'm not saying he didn't, but he also had LeBron James on his team. So.
Well, he's got Joel Embiid on his team now. Isn't he supposed to be an MVP candidate?
Yeah, but it's different though.
Come on, what
candidate. Come on now, huh?
You guys aren't buying it?
You study now. You're really playing radio.
Look, I think, like I said, of all the options, some of them are, they go from the insane to the ridiculous. But those are if you're giving me anyone but Brooklyn, I go Lakers 1, Sixers 2, for the reasons why I explained. Aside from that, I don't see any reasonable option other than him just staying in Brooklyn. That's why I'm trying to find places for him to go if he feels like he needs to go.
No,
so that's what I'm doing.
The only places for him to go is L.A. or Brooklyn. That's it.
Yeah.
Just stay in Brooklyn. If you're not going to L.A., stay in Brooklyn and make it work.
Make it happen. All right, 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. We got time for a couple of calls? Yes, we do. All right, let's grab a couple of calls from some people that want to answer the question for us. So if you make this move and you go somehow, some way, LeBron, AD, and Kyrie, what are they in the West? We go to Allen, Wisconsin first. Al.
Al? Or no Al?
You guys might want to pick him up. I tried picking him up. Didn't happen.
Al? Somebody has to pick Al up. All right, next caller.
All right. Tim in South Carolina?
Well, I guess right now, stand by because we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here. We're going to get that sorted out as Alan Hahn and Keyshawn continue to talk about the Kyrie Irving potential trade to the Los Angeles Lakers.
What happened, Key? Are we just not getting the calls through? What's going on?
No, we got some situations, technical issues going on that we're going to try to get resolved before we get back to the callers.
Oh, on the call end of things. I see. All right. Well, all right. That's fine. All right. You want to hit him up for? Okay. All right. Yate's going to get him for me. All right. Let's try Randy in the Bronx then. Go ahead, Randy.
Hey, how you doing, gentlemen?
Good.
Everything is. I hope you guys are good this morning. I just have a trade scenario. I was thinking Kyrie Irving can go to L.A. Russell Westbrook, nobody wants that contract, so why don't the Knicks should take him for the year. We're not winning a championship regardless. So we take on Russell Westbrook and we take on Seth Curry. Lakers get Alec Burks and Kyrie Irving, and the Knicks send Julius Randle and Evan Fournier over to Brooklyn.
Why did
That'll
I
give
know
both-
that somehow, some way, this was going to be a way for a Knicks fan to get rid of Julius Randle, Key? Why did I just know that that's what this was going to be about? I don't know if I don't know if that makes sense. Russell Westbrook, it's $47 million. You're going to have to give me a whole bunch of first-round picks to take on a contract, even for 1 year. I just don't see that one happening.
Yeah, no, the contract situation that the Lakers are in with Westbrook, if they're looking to move him and collect up on Kyrie, it's going to be difficult and tough to do without surrendering a couple first-round picks.
All right, we got Al in Wisconsin back. Let's get Al. Go ahead.
Hey there, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Here you are, Alan. You know what you get with Kyrie, with LeBron, and Anthony Davis? You know what you get?
What do you get?
You get an absolute dumb, ridiculous, worst decision in the Western Hemisphere. Let me share this with you. We can talk about Kyrie's talent and what he can do. When you get a person who is unreliable, undependable, and who at any given time, for whatever reason, whatever's going on in the history of life, or that could be come up with, he can just punch out and check out on you. When you're going to battle and trying to get a championship, you have to have the dependability and know that you've got somebody in the trenches with you that you can depend on.
But look, check this out, though. Check this out, though, before I even let you keep going. You do understand he never checked out on LeBron James. Okay? Let's make that clear. He never checked out on LeBron James. He will be going back with LeBron James. Sometimes people communicate with others differently, and you can get them to do certain things.
Yep.
You know, you talk to them a certain way. LeBron James in the individuals at Clutch Management, who essentially is helping the Lakers put rosters together, they know how to massage it a certain way and talk to him and make him feel better than maybe Boston did or maybe the people in New York is doing.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just saying.
No, it's true. See, Key?
He never checked out on LeBron.
No, and I'll go as far as this before we'll put a ball in this conversation. We certainly will get back to it, of course, and also back to the calls in a little while. But it is also the idea that you have Kyrie with KD, and KD I told you what he said earlier. I'm not getting involved in all that stuff. He stays out of things. He is not really a proactive leader. He is more of a, you do you, I'll do me, and we'll just try to figure it out. LeBron James if Kyrie and LeBron James were teammates the last couple of years and Kyrie was the things that he was doing, I think LeBron would have been in his ear a little more. I think there would have been a little more conversation, a little more motivation.
But you also got to think about it this way. LeBron was doing the same things, Han, except he was playing on the court.
Yep. Yeah. Well, again, all right, we'll get back to this conversation for sure, but we have a lot more to get to with you. It's Keyshawn, J. Will, Max, Alan Hahn in for Max, presented by Progressive Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and progressive.com.
He's phony, she's fake. That's the type of people